Giant fans that have supported us for more than 30 years at Giant Stadium, for all those years in Yankee Stadium, and some of you even back to the Polo Grounds. This is for you. This is for you.
Listen to me. Okay. The rest of your life, man, nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Giants Guys. This is John Fennelly, along with Craig Santucci of NYGiantsRush.com, and we're here to preview the Giants' Week 4 game against the Washington Redskins. Craig, how you doing today?
Since I missed out on your earlier show this week because I was busy, I have two words: Danny Dimes.
Yeah, he's gone from zero to hero all of a sudden. And the Giants have made us all look like monkeys.
Well, it's fun. The whole week on Twitter was pleasant and exciting, and so it definitely has quieted the fan base on the negative side, and it is, got a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, and I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, as long as everybody's getting along and there's decent football to watch and root for, that's a positive.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't really a great first half for the Giants. Obviously, they were getting toasted again deep downfield. A huge mismatch. Jackrabbit against Mike Evans. I had called that on my fantasy blog last week. He was one of my picks because I knew they weren't going to be able to handle Evans. And he had been quiet the first two games because I think he was sick the first week, and then the second week, I think they double covered him, whoever they played. Oh, Carolina, yeah. And the Giants, it's just they don't have an answer for him.
I don't know many people that do, by the way.
Well, if Winston, they did put pressure on Winston.
Yep.
And, but that's not enough. Because Winston's just going to keep throwing. I mean, he's one of those kids. He's very careless with the football, as we know. And he's just going to throw it in tight windows. He'll throw it anywhere, which is one of the reasons why he's probably going to be out of Tampa Bay after this year. But, when you have a guy like that, a bomber like that, and they also had this kid Godwin, who I think got hurt during the game, that DeAndre Baker did a pretty good job on. He only had 3 catches or 4 catches, I think. And the week before, he was one of the top receivers in the league. Chris Godwin, number 12.
Okay.
So Baker had him. Jenkins had Evans, or tried to get Evans anyway. And it worked out pretty well for Baker. But, his statistics for the year are still pretty bad. If you look at the quarterback rating for cornerbacks in the league, Jenkins is third worst. Quarterbacks have a 140 quarterback rating when throwing in his direction, and a 137 rating when throwing in Baker's direction. But a lot of that's the first 2 weeks and the first half of last week.
And it's the lack of pass rush.
Yeah. And it's also scheme. I think Baker got more aggressive in the second half last week in Tampa Bay. He started to confront the receivers within 5 yards, which is what his strength is. And, Godwin didn't really get off. I think he had a 20-something yard catch, but that was about it. So he did a good job. I think if Baker comes around, Jenkins could end up being the weak link, and by October he could be gone.
It's possible. I mean, it might just be a little bit of a slow start. I mean, Jenkins should have a good game this week. There's nothing pointing to the fact that he has a mismatch this week.
But Washington does have a couple of good receivers, so they have a very good passing game. Case Keenum, very underrated. Now, he's like Fitzpatrick in a lot of ways. People underrate him, and he beats you.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
If they don't put pressure on him, he's going to have lanes to throw. They have that rookie from Ohio State, McLaurin. He's one of the top rookie receivers in the league. And they have Paul Richardson, the guy who used to play for the Seahawks. He stepped up his game. So those are two guys that, against a normal team, they'd be okay. But against the Giants, they could really put up some big numbers.
Well, we're hoping this pass rush may be just a little bit slow or late to the party, because in the second half, Zimenez looked like he was ready to play ball. I mean, he showed he can play at this level. He had pressures, he had QB hits, he had tackles, so the game has always been about pressure. It's never changed. It's about pressure. If you get pressure up front, your DBs don't have to cover as long. So if Carter and Dexter Lawrence, who also had a nice game, and Connolly has a nice game, I mean, it just might be a slow burn to get these guys up to speed. But if you get pass rush, Jenkins won't have as much problems.
Yeah, I mean, one hand washes the other, but we'll see. Washington is coming in. They're kind of a mess, 0-3. Jay Gruden could be on the hot seat. He doesn't want to take Keenum out of the game and put in Haskins, which would have been a good thing. Excuse me. Would have been a good thing for promoting the game. Haskins against Jones.
Your fans, if you're a Washington fan, you want to see Haskins, right?
Yeah, I mean, Keenum can't be the future, right?
No. I mean, again, I think Keenum's a better QB, but if you're a fan, you want to see Haskins. I mean, it's your first round draft pick, so I get it. But
what does that tell you about Haskins if he's not ready to play at 0-3?
Depends, because we also were going into this thinking, regardless of what Eli did, that he would be a game 6, game 7 guy, and here he is a game 2 guy. So you're right, he might not be ready, but I wouldn't rule him out getting a start soon if Redskins don't turn it around.
True. But he still may not be ready. I think there's a lot of people that had reported that he was having problems calling plays in the huddle and stuff like that. So reading defenses. So he's probably a couple of games away from being pushed out there. We forgot to talk about the major story of the week. Everybody keeps pushing it under the table.
Barkley out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Now you know that injury like I do. That's more of a 6 to 8 week thing sometimes.
It's a horrible injury. I know he was flying somewhere to get a second opinion.
Which told him he didn't need surgery.
I'm sorry?
He didn't need the surgery.
Correct. But it's a devastating industry all the way around because, your captain, your leader, your lightning rod, and then, of course, just, Wayne Gallman's a nice back. It's not Barkley, and the offense revolves around Barkley. So, it's going to be another struggle for the Giants.
An injury they really didn't need at this point. But you know how I feel about running backs. I'm a committee guy.
Yep.
And now they'll have to do that, and we'll see how it works out.
They promoted Hillman off the practice squad today.
That's the right thing to do. The kid I thought he earned a roster spot out of camp.
I agree with that too.
And he should have been on the team before Paul Perkins.
Well, Paul Perkins doesn't have a job anymore, right?
Excuse me. Perkins got picked up by Detroit, as we know. So they must really be hard up for running backs.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't think Gallman will do a bad job. It's just, it's just not that game-breaking, dynamic
Well,
player that
look what
Barkley.
happened last week. Barkley got stopped, 10 yards on 8 rushes. They got behind, and he was basically, an aside. He wasn't really part of the game plan when the Giants were making their comeback or trying to. He was out of the game before the half, but they were trying to pass from the ball because he couldn't run. They were stopping the run. Todd Bowles was hell-bent on stopping the run. They were doing it. Gorman didn't really run that well afterwards either. But Barkley wasn't really part of the game, wasn't part of their success. They weren't going anywhere with him. So you see what they did in the second half? That's probably the way they're going to look for the next month.
Well, you get Tate back next week, and you got Shepard and Ingram, so it may get a little bit more pass happy, but if you listen to Shermer's press conference, he said that, Gallman, understands the offense, knows the offense. He says a little, to coin his term, he was a little twitchy, and but he can drive the ball up in the hole. And
he just doesn't have that explosiveness.
Doesn't have the explosiveness, and he's not dynamic in the passing game from a screen or a bubble wheel route. He's not dynamic in the passing game, but he's going to have to be.
Yeah, he can actually benefit from having Jones at quarterback because when you do that run-pass option, people will actually focus on Jones rather than Gallman. And if he gives Gallman the ball, he'll have a free lane to run because they'll follow Jones.
Yeah, and I think, I think that the Gallman will do a nice job. It just leaves you at the mercy of having to throw the ball a whole lot more. I mean, without a steady back, that really, can take the load off a rookie quarterback, the rookie's going to get a whole lot more pressure.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people are underestimating the Giants' offense is Darius Slayton's ability to get deep and take the top off a defense. You're about to see all of that happen.
Good. I love this. His block is what sprung Evan Ingram free on his 70-yard scamper down the sideline. So, I love receivers that can block.
Good football player all around. He's learning, and I think he had 3 catches for 86 yards. I mean, that's pretty good.
And like I said, and a game scoring downfield block.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
For a rookie. You can't ask for much more.
So with him, Ingram, Shepard, and Tate coming back, they're not looking too bad on offense.
No, and then Fowler's coming back too. So, you've still got some guys that are, playing some of those in-between routes.
Well, Russell Shepard's gone for the year.
Correct.
So he's gone because he had a bad foot or he had a foot injury. They had to put him on IR, and that's when they brought Hilleman up. So they're all set now for the next week, and then when Tate comes back, somebody else is going to have to go.
Yeah, which I don't know who it's going to be, but I mean I would have to also
these things have been working themselves out as guys get hurt.
I was just going to say the Giants have not had to make any tough choices. The injuries have basically dictated, who goes and who stays. For instance, Connolly's playing inside and he looks great.
Yeah.
But Davis and Ogletree are on the sideline, so that means Mayo gets a start, which was a late add-on, and then they brought Stupar back. So,
oh God, yeah, I know.
So the Giants are also hurt in the middle. You've got 2 journeyman linebackers and a rookie.
I don't think you see the 3-4. I think you see more of a 4-3 this week.
Interesting.
Even though Washington's averaging only 48 yards a game on the ground. But they're going to want to put pressure on Case Keenum, who's got a bad foot, by the way. So I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll load up rather than put one of those guys on the field, Stupar or Mayo or who's the other guy from the Steelers they got?
Skipper.
Skipper, yeah. I mean, rather than put those guys on the field. I'd rather see Conley in the middle, Carter, Golden, Zimenez, somebody. Maybe put Carter as a defensive end, which I think he should be anyway, because watching him play linebacker is starting to hurt my neck. Yeah, he's an underachiever from the time he got to Georgia. Now with the Giants, you keep hearing about what potential he's got. I see him running around doing a lot of nothing sometimes.
They just need to let him pin his ears back.
They just need to put him on the end and let him go. Don't let him cover people in the passing game. Just let him chase the quarterback. Enough. I've seen enough. I think that's what his job is.
Well, I did like seeing like I said, I alluded to it a couple minutes ago. I'm expecting Zimenez to have another good game now.
He
line
gets better every time out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the line for Washington's a big bulky line.
Mm-hmm. Big offensive line. Yeah.
Yep. So he's got speed and strength. He
who the biggest of their linemen is?
What's that?
Who's their biggest lineman?
Is he still there? Well, if
Eric
you can't
Flowers.
if you can't make Eric Flowers look bad, you got problems.
Yeah, they've got some injuries on the line. They're not good, obviously, because they can't run the ball. Well, Darius Geis is out. They've got Chris Thompson, who's really a receiver, and Adrian Peterson is 34.
Yeah, he is getting up there.
Even though he did toast the Giants last year, but still, he needs a head of steam to get some yards these days. He's not the same player.
Well, I mean, I don't. Flowers has been moved inside the guard, if I'm not.
Yeah,
mistaken.
He's a guard now. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens if Betcher's going to run some stunts up the middle. He should know that Flowers is not a good lineman and got bad technique. So they should be focusing on that.
Yeah, I think they'll look to do something. Like I said, I'd like to see a 4-3 because they're short on linebackers. They just don't have enough playmakers at the linebacker level.
They don't have enough playmakers at the linebacker level when they're healthy.
Yeah, so think about Ogletree and Davis not being able to play. So that's something I would think about. Hosea Tauifa, I think I'm saying that right, who's on the practice squad, should have made this team, and he should be on it right now, and then he'd be able to play because he led the team in tackles in preseason, and he didn't really play a lot, and he still did it. So I like him. I think eventually he's going to be on the field for the Giants, maybe even this year, because they're just not doing it at the linebacker level. I mean, you saw Conley play okay. Ogletree, even when he's healthy, he's suspect. He's suspect.
Yeah, he is definitely not the same player he once was. I mean, I liked Connolly's game. I think he had 7 tackles, a pass defended, an interception. I like Connolly's game, and especially he's a 4th round draft pick. I think he's as advertised and then some.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you get good play from Dexter Lawrence up front, and then Carter and Hill on the outside, I love B.J. Hills, but he's been super quiet.
Good against the run, which he doesn't get a lot of, sealing the edge. Doesn't get a lot of credit for the non-contact part of the game that he provides for them, because he hasn't been making a lot of tackles and he hasn't been getting a lot of quarterback pressures.
Yeah.
So everyone's saying, "What is he doing?" But he's basically doing his job. And I don't think they've been running his way. So a lot of teams they've been running up the middle because they know the Giants have 2 gaping holes there and nobody that can make a tackle at linebacker. The middle of the field is wide open with the Giants. It's just wide open.
Yeah, and I mean, and Peppers had a better day last week. I still don't see it.
I don't.
I find him. I mean, I'm not killing the guy's character, but I just don't see it. He just doesn't strike me as a dynamic player. He's not blowing plays up. He's not picking the ball off. He's not making. Listen, you know what the best play last week was? You were talking about the Barkley thing being, kind of shoved under the carpet. How about on the positive side? Michael Thomas open field tackle.
Big tackle on 3rd down.
Like, that's a ball player right there. That's what I want to see Peppers do. Like, come up and make a big play. Michael Thomas, who doesn't get a lot of credit on his team, he feels he's a special teams guy. He's a backup free. I think he can play both sides, free and strong. He's just a good guy to have in a team. Anybody listening and they want to know about what a textbook tackle is, go watch the game film. Textbook open field tackle.
He knew exactly where he was on the field, and he knew what he had to do there, and he got it done. That's how you win games. Big plays like that, key plays. But he doesn't play that often.
No, well, he might need more time because I don't see the other two doing a whole lot.
Well, the options they have are 5 defensive backs, which they use a lot of, and either that or a 4-3, which I don't know how they do that. Who would you put on the end of the line? I would put Carter on the end of the line. And get him off, get him out of space because I don't think he's doing well.
So if you go,
that's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying it right.
If you went to a 4-3, and I don't know if they, I know Carter and Zemetis play the same side, which also seems ridiculous. But I'd have a rotation of Carter and Zemetis and Hill and Golden. Like those guys, a little bit of NASCAR.
They're going to have a bigger problem if Olsen Pierre can't play because he's out with a knee right now. I don't know if he's practicing today, but
no, he didn't practice today, but he rode the bike.
Yeah, that's great.
They may maybe it might be a little bit of pride, but look, we did great with that NASCAR package, right? I mean,
they've got to get back to something like that where, the offensive line, the opposing offensive line can't dig in and get comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where they have to lift up their heads every play and say, okay, different gaps are being covered. And, they have to switch assignments. And that's how you keep a team off balance.
Yep.
They don't do that on defense. They keep themselves off balance. That's about it.
There's no reason why they can't have Lawrence, Golden, Zemetis, and Carter on the field at one time.
Well, I don't want Golden to play defensive end. I don't think he does well. Last year in Arizona, he really kind of failed as a defensive end, as a 4-3 end. I think Carter may be able to do it. Zemetis, I'm not so sure about. He could probably do both because he's got a lot of talent. He's a good, pretty good player. But I don't think Carter is a linebacker. I think he's gotten too big, and I think he needs to be a defensive end.
Well,
like Kareem Martin, same thing. I think he should be a defensive end.
Oh, no. Kareem Martin shouldn't be on the team.
Well, he's not right now, but...
Yeah. And you know what? Thank God, because we need to get to the point where we have young guys on the field playing ball. Yeah. Not 35-year-old safeties and not 32-year-old linebacker / defense ends. You need youth and speed.
Yep. They're getting there. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think the draft class is doing okay so far. Obviously Jones, the 3 first-round picks. I think Baker will work out. You just got to get him, play to his strengths. And Lawrence, he'll come along, but I don't think he's a nose tackle. I think he's an inside 4-3 tackle.
Well, he had a much better game. I mean, he had a much, much better game. He looked a lot more comfortable last week. And I think like a little bit of rivalry this week against Washington. I think these guys are going to feed on the momentum because, it was listen, Tampa Bay's not a good team. The Giants are not a good team. The game was winnable. They did find a way to win it, even if a little bit of luck came into play, because
I'd say,
I listen, it's one play that they make a mistake on. It goes either way, right? Because, Jones makes a fantastic play, sees the open field, runs up the middle, puts the game, ties up the game. Rojas puts it through. You're up by 1. You only have to stop the team for whatever was left. 30 seconds, 33 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, okay, Jenkins looked bad, but geez, Betcher, what are you thinking? Like, they want to get it to Michael Thomas. You only need to keep him out of field goal range. I mean, they just bonked it. Like, as bad as Jenkins was, Betcher's right along with him. Like, what was he calling? What was he thinking? Like, you gotta put your head on straight and say, hey, I'd rather take Thomas out of the game and let them beat me with somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to put the guys out there that can make the plays if you want to win the game in a spot like that. And I think Thomas, a veteran like that who was on the field at the right time, he made the right play. And they got, I would say they got a little lucky. Because if he's not on the field, that play doesn't get made.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the safeties. I think Bethea is doing okay. They really need somebody to play center field. It'd be nice. I don't know why, nobody wants to do that Tampa 2 thing and have a center fielder out there. But, that prevents the big play, and they've been giving up the big play. Well, if you see a Jenkins getting beat by Evans, that center fielder comes right over. That ball doesn't get thrown.
Well, I also think
maybe it goes somewhere else, but it doesn't. That ball doesn't get thrown.
And I just don't like Peppers. Just doesn't look comfortable. Like he's just not around the ball, and when he's around the ball, he's like just barely making a play. Like he just doesn't. First of all, he's not a ball hawking safety. Like I thought he'd be this ball hawking safety, and he's not.
He's not a proactive player. He's a reactive player.
Yep. For what it's worth, I mean, I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't think he brings that much to the team. You got Love sitting on the bench, not getting any play time, but you're not going to bench Peppers.
He was inactive last week.
Love was, yes, correct.
Yeah.
It just none of it makes sense. I guess I'm disappointed overall because, I don't know if Love can play because he needs to be on the field.
He definitely can't play corner. He could play slot corner. He could play a nickel and dime. He could play a little safety. But they don't like him out on the wing.
I always thought he'd be a nickel anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're never going to admit defeat. You know how prideful they are. You know how prideful Gettleman is. I mean, right now, like I don't want Odell Beckham back, but Peppers is just not. Like, I mean, like Beckham could have, 40 catches and he's going to look more valuable than Peppers. Peppers just looks like a body. He doesn't look like
it's been 3 games, and I'm not going to give up on him yet because the kid's a tremendous athlete. He's smart.
Yep, all of the above.
I think it's going to come together. It'll come together.
I'm going to go the other way. Collins got here. He walked on the field. He almost made Defensive Player of the Year. Like, this guy was supposed to be, he's this, he's that, he's this.
Yeah.
I don't see anything out of this guy, and I don't think that week 3 or week 6, week 9 are going to make a difference. Like, this is who he is. He's an average player who has a spark here and there, but no big hits, no big interceptions. It just, I don't know, how much this isn't a rookie. How long do I have to wait for him to show what he can do? I'm just saying, like, you get paid a lot of money, you get traded, you come to the biggest market in the country, and what do? You just show the world you're average.
Well, they have a lot of new pieces on defense, and they don't really have somebody out there who can really direct traffic. Bethea was supposed to be doing it, and obviously not getting it done. They have rookies all over the place. They have new kids, in other positions, new guys, new faces. So, you got to give it a little time. I was upset too. And even Jenkins he must be confused because there's no way he gets beat like that.
Well, if you go back and you watch it, I mean, he lunges at him and he just blows right by him. You see him put his hand up in the air and the ball goes up. Like, it's bad technique to start. It didn't look like he was ready for the route to start. I mean, just again, it still comes back to execution. The Giants aren't a very well executed team. We don't have. Listen, I'm not saying I want Collins back either, but when Collins was on the field, he was around the ball 24/7.
Well, that's what he does. He's just basically a box safety who follows the ball.
And right now, with all the DBs that we have, we need help in mid-range. You lost all your linebackers. Like I'd take a box safety right now.
Yeah, they do miss Landon Collins. I'm going to tell you that right now. They miss him, in the base defense. But he wouldn't be helping them in their coverage schemes right now. He definitely wouldn't be a help at all. And what you're going to see, he's going to have to cover Evan Ingram, this Sunday. He'll be in for a long day. He can't cover Ingram.
No.
Ingram's too fast, too big and too fast. Even if he knows all of Ingram's moves, he still has to keep up with him. I don't see it happening. And this is the best part about switching to Daniel Jones is the receivers know they just don't have 2.5 seconds anymore. They have 3 and 4 seconds now. So they run a little further. If they don't see the ball thrown, they break into an empty zone. So, plays will be made. We're going to put pressure on the other secondary for once. Because we got a quarterback who's going to avoid the rush, roll out, and he throws with pretty good accuracy when he's moving, even when he's moving, out of the pocket. So
I thought all the way around, there was nothing you could say. Listen, he's got a ball security issue a little bit. We know.
Well, he got stripped. I mean, guy came in like a bolt. He blew shoulder away.
Yeah, well, that's another subject that we'll bridge in a second. But no, Jones looked good. Receivers got more options now. The line is in pretty good shape overall. Like the offense is heading in the right direction. The defense is still stuck in neutral.
Right, but I think the defense will get better once they realize what they have. When they realize Ryan Connolly has to be in the middle of the field 100% of the plays. He played 92% of the plays last week.
Yeah, the kid can play without a doubt.
He's calling. And once he put the headset on, what happened? The Giants gave up 1 field goal. That was it.
That's a pretty good point.
All right. They said in camp he knew the defense better than anybody. And he just walked in.
Yeah.
2 days before. And he looked at the board and I got it. Betcha said, they don't want to start him, right? They can't start him over the other guys. Now they can.
They
will.
He looks like the real deal.
Sometimes you get lucky. Look at the 5th rounds they had. The 5th round they had. Conley and Slayton. That's about as good a 5th round you're gonna ever have.
Yep.
You could hope for. Really. And I think that this kid, he comes in, he's just one of those guys who knows the game. He came in, he was a quarterback. He walked on at Wisconsin. And he worked his way up 4 years and became the defensive captain and their leading tackler. And then the draft came and the Giants are like, this guy's still ascending. He's not like Carter who plateaued in high school. Which I hate to say because I think that's true. It happens. Well, I plateaued in high school too.
Carter always just reminds me of a guy who needs a mentor. Like he needs a guy that can literally I get frustrated because, you sit around and you watch these old Giant videos and it just seems like at that time Belichick let those guys do what they do well. He let Leonard Marshall do what he did well.
Yeah.
He let Banks do what he did well. He did these guys always seem like they're never doing what they're meant to do.
But
you know what I mean?
You just named 2 guys a very bad example. You had two very intelligent football players. Two guys that were well coached in college. I'm not saying that Carter wasn't. He went to Georgia. But, they walked on the field and they were ready to play.
Yeah.
This guy, last year he was a little lost, and he still looks a little lost.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They all look lost, though, so it's really not fair to say that about him.
Yeah. I'm just overall saying I don't, like, right now, okay, Betcher's supposed to be this defensive, genius, and, this guy's so aggressive. Well, he's not so aggressive because we're not seeing anything. I haven't seen a safety of a corner blitz all year.
No. I think he just wants to get everybody comfortable, I think, and then he's going to start dialing up some things. This week, I think we'll see some different things.
Well, if we don't, it goes back to my original point is like, it's the NFL, which stands for not for long.
Right.
When you don't do your job. And, I don't know what he's waiting for. We didn't have safety corner blitzes last year. Like, is he using Haley? Is he using Haley right? Is he using Love right? No, he's scratched. Where are the stunts? I'm and this isn't aimed at you, but I'm tired of waiting.
You're absolutely right. But here's the thing. I'm not sure if he has the players he needs.
That's probably part of it, yeah, but you can't do anything about it. I don't want to see Carter.
You're going to see more Zimenez. Obviously, you're going to see more Ryan Conley.
Yeah.
Okay? But, you're going to see Lawrence more. Still playing only half the snaps.
Yep.
He was supposed to be a 3-down guy. He'll play more. Watch.
I hope so. I hope you're right. Because because right now they're not showing me anything. All I want to see is Carter and Golden rush the passer. Play the run.
That's it.
Stop putting them in space. Stop letting them drop.
Yeah, I just
stop
said
letting
that.
them think. What's that?
I just said that about Carter. He just don't make him cover, tight ends and running backs. Just have him chase the passer.
Yeah.
Let him get that part of his game down first.
I'm just like, Betcher, what are you waiting for? Let these guys go already. Take the training wheels off.
Ugh. And, thinking about, Jabril Peppers, watching him at Michigan, he could do anything. He could play any position. But you know what? I remember it back then. He could play a lot of positions, but not one very well enough to be considered a pro at that position. He can play offense, defense, special teams. That's great. But can he do it to the point where, like you always say, we need a guy who can play one position well.
Yeah.
Not a guy who can, because he's versatile. That was, Justin Pugh was versatile.
Yep.
You can get away with him at guard. You can get away with him at tackle, even at center if you wanted to. But was he really good at any of them? Was he Pro Bowl level at any of them?
How long have you and I, specifically you and I, been saying, stop sticking a round peg in a square hole?
Yeah.
Just this guy has the size and the strength and the speed to be a pass rusher. Go get him.
Yeah.
This guy has the size and the speed and the presence to be a nasty DN, 4-3 DN, because he's going to play the run and the pass. Done. Just let them do what they're supposed to do, for God's sake. Instead of this guy can do this, and I'm going to make this guy. No, stop it. Just, you don't have the bodies, great. But we know right now, I've been saying it for 2 years. I don't really care. I have these disagreements with people about quarterbacks, and we should have drafted this guy. We should have drafted this guy. If you don't have a pass rush, you don't win. That's right. It. That's just true. The bottom line. And if you're going to depend on guys like B.J. Hill, Zimenez, and Golden to be your pass rushers, then let them rush the stinking passer. Otherwise, you get lit up like a pinball machine. That's the bottom line. Right? First half to second half. What was the difference? Connolly was on the headset, and Zimenez got going.
Yeah. And look what happened. So you'll see more of that. The Giants, they're not married to a lot of these guys, the free agents they sign. They're married to their draft picks. That's who they're hitching their wagon to. Look at if they switch to Jones. They're like, okay, let's get the future on now. Let's get it done now. Okay, so they did that on offense. Now it's time to do it on defense. Put Baker out there. Let him do his thing. Let Conley do his thing. Even put Ballantyne out there if you need to.
Yeah, it's another guy we're never going to know if he can play if he doesn't get on the field.
Well, there's a logjam now. Beal. Is Beal going to come back after the 8th week?
You know what? I hate to say it, but I'd be packaging Beal and Jenkins and let him go. Beal has not played football in 2 years. How can he have any value?
I don't know. You can't trade him. If you cut him, if you release him, think about how many teams would take a chance on him. They don't really know what he can do. Nobody's ever seen it. So how could you sign a guy like that?
I mean, he's a year away from getting cut.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, this reminds me of all these guys that we drafted through the years that just had all the potential and can't contribute. I'm sorry. Like, supplemental draft, bring the guy in. He hasn't played football in 2 years. 2 years. How can you contribute if you haven't done something in 2 years? Yes,
I agree.
Everything. If I don't do something every 2 days, I forget how to do it, let alone 2 years. I mean, yes, he's a superior athlete, but I'm sorry. Like, if I got to go pound for pound, I'm going to go to Haley. I'm going to go to Love. I'm going to go to Ballantyne way before I go to Beal. He hasn't been on the field in 2 years.
All right. Okay. Let's preview the game coming up, the Washington game.
Let's talk Redskins.
Okay. Giants are 1-2. Redskins are 0-3. Game will be at MetLife Stadium, 1:00. Tom Brenneman and Chris Spielman will be calling the game for Fox. Giants are 3-point favorites, which is something different. They've only been favored 3 times in the last 19 games.
Ouch.
Over-under is 49, so they know something. They're suspecting something now. The win will bring the Giants to 500 for the first time since the end of the 2016 season.
Wow.
Those are the facts. Now, here's the injuries.
Read them.
Russell Shepard went to IR with a foot injury. John Hellerman was added from the practice squad. Saquon Barkley is out with an ankle. Ogletree has a hamstring. Tay Davis, concussion. Olsen Pierre, knee. All questionable. Benny Fowler, hamstring, is limited. He's probable. Redskins, Jordan Reed, concussion. He's probably done, right?
Man, that guy has more talent than, 3/4 of the
Yeah,
tight
but how
ends
many
in the NFL.
concussions does he have?
Not only concussions, but he's hurt all the time.
Unbelievable.
I feel bad. That's a perfect example of a guy with a lot of talent and just can't stay healthy.
Wow. He hasn't played this year, I don't think. Chase Roulier, the center, is out with a knee. Brandon Scherf has an ankle. He's a Pro Bowler.
Yep, I'll say that's
He didn't
hurt.
practice yesterday. I don't know if he practiced today. Terry McLaurin, the rookie from Ohio State, has a hamstring, was limited, but he'll probably play. Keenum has a foot injury, but he's been practicing in full, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Some things to know. Giants are 8th in the NFL in passing on offense. Redskins are 9th. But the Giants are 10th in rushing, and Washington is 30th. So that's where they differ. They average just 48 yards a game. On defense, the Redskins are 26th overall. Giants are 31st.
Ouch.
So, but we know why. We know why. We don't know what Washington's issue is because they seem to have some good players. The talk of this game is going to be about the rookies, naturally. Dwayne Haskins will be on the bench because Jay Gruden wants to give Keenum a longer look. They also have Montez Sweat, who they took in the first round. He got his first NFL sack last week. And McLaurin leads all NFL rookies in catches. He's second in yards, and he has 3 touchdowns. Now I'm going to read you something from NFL Next Gen Stats about Danny Dimes.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it.
It says, quote, Jones brought a new dimension to the Giants' QB position with his athleticism, scrambling for first downs and touchdowns, and opening up Pat Shermer's playbook to whip out a zone read keeper on his first TD. Jones reached a max speed of over 19 miles an hour on 3 of his 4 rushes, and now has 3 of the top 6 max speeds reached by a quarterback as a ball carrier this season. Think about all the guys who run with the football. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. So he's right up there with them. What made Jones' performance even more incredible was the fact that he was under pressure on 51.2% of his dropbacks. Jones completed 12 of 16 passes under pressure for 192 yards and with a TD, the most yards under pressure in a game since Tom Brady had 239 yards versus Houston in 2017. How do you like that?
Okay. Let's see. How do I like it? Well, I like it a lot. But you're never gonna convince me that miles per hour means crap. I don't care.
19 miles an hour is better than 18, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he was gonna bootleg that in, whether he was going 19 miles an hour or 18 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
But he got hit a lot, for his first time out of the chute. And, I
why do you think that is?
Well, there's two schools of thought. But my first school of thought is that he definitely he's not afraid,
mm-hmm.
Combined with the fact that he has something to prove, wants to show everyone he can stand in there and make the throw and take the big hit.
Right.
He's not scared, right? Because he doesn't know any better. And then also your left tackle just basically bonks out on a whole bunch of plays.
Yep.
Because now I don't know if it was and again this kind of comes back to last year. Solder started off slow because it was a new quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until he got Eli down, he had a nice second half. And for all you people that are going to tell me or hit me up on Twitter saying, well, he was overpaid, worst contract ever, it was the only option the Giants had for left tackle. It was the same reason that the Giants signed Vernon. It was the only defensive end that was out there that could play. So Vernon stunk. Vernon's gone, right? So Solder had a nice second half. The first half of the year, I still think he was getting acclimated with the QB. And I think he's going to have to get acclimated with Daniel Jones. Couple of those plays were bad technique. Some of them weren't all his fault. Like on one specific play, Rhett Ellison got basically, ran straight over with a straight arm shiver by the defensive end, and just basically backed into the quarterback. Letting Jones get hit. So it's a combination of things, but I'm expecting Solder to get better.
Yeah, and I agree with all of that. He had ankle surgery in the offseason and didn't really participate in the offseason program, mini camps and all of that stuff. And then in camp, he was kind of, he was out there, but he wasn't doing 100% of the work, as far as I know. And somebody said this week that offensive lines don't really get into it until the first month because they don't get a lot of time to practice in the preseason. They sit out games. They don't practice during the week. They get held out so nobody gets hurt. They try to keep, shield them from injury. So that's something that it's not like a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end where you could be an individual contributor. You have to be part of a group, and you have to gel together.
Yeah, cohesive.
Yeah, and it takes time, as it is, and now you're taking these guys away. You're taking time away from them, the CBA. And it's getting more and more pronounced because people are afraid, coaches are afraid guys are going to get hurt. So you'll see they play very few snaps before the first snap of the season. And they're at a disadvantage. So, I'll give that time too. All right, so the Giants just came out with their final injury report for the week for the game. Barkley naturally is out. Ogletree and Tay Davis are out. But Cody Latimer has cleared concussion protocol. So that's good.
Yes.
And Jerry just sent me a tweet from the Giant Insider. He said the Redskins' third down percentage on defense is 63.4%. How is that possible?
Is it?
It's got to be. If he sent it to me, he's looking at it. I can look it up too. Then he comments, "That's horrible." But he said the Giants' offense on third down is 30.6%, but last week with Jones, it was almost 50%. So third down, you improve on third down, obviously your offense is going to be better. Even they were in third and long situations, and he was completing them. He was getting them out of them. So if you can get 50% on third down, you'll be doing good. That's a good percentage. And if you're giving up, what is it, 37%? You're only stopping the other team 30% of the time on third down, which is what I'm looking at with the Redskins here. You're going to lose a lot of games, and that's why they're 0-3. One of the reasons. Wow, that is terrible. Let me ask you this. I wanted to bring this up. What did you think about Rex Ryan saying that Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in New York?
Okay. I mean, part of it just sounds like a little bit of sour grapes.
You think he's trying to dig the Jets?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me because, well, no one knows really what Darnold is, and this whole mono thing sounds like a little bit of a wimp. Like, he's not the first quarterback who's been sick.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole, he can't play, he's out. I don't know. I'm not knocking mono, but just he's coming across as West Coast soft.
Wow. You're going to go the East Coast, West Coast thing on me, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. He, listen, it's New York, man. You got to be gritty to play here, right?
Yeah. You don't sit out when you're sick.
No. You don't sit out when you're sick.
That's something that the doctors would not allow to play with. They won't allow him to play. Because they're talking about his spleen being vulnerable, which is true. I mean, I know that about. I never had it, but I know that about mono. I mean, there's certain things you're not supposed to do, and exert yourself is one of them.
Yeah, I got it. So, I was just answering your original question. It just sounds like Rex would have
dig on. It's just the Jets. It's the Jets. It could only happen to the Jets.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if Darnold's any good or not. I mean, to me right now, I've only seen Jones play one game. Yeah.
And Darnold, I mean, we've seen him out there making his mistakes, but I think he'd be a good player. I think he'll be a good player. I don't know if it's going to be with the Jets. I don't think the Jets are doing much to help him. I was never really in love with Darnold to begin with,
so I don't know. I mean, Darnold will be a nice player, just like Mitch Trubisky will be. You know what I mean? They'll be nice They'll be nice players, but that to me just sounds like Rex.
Just giving it to the Jets.
Just giving it to the Jets. Nothing. It's almost not even a dig on Darnold as it is on the Jets.
Yes, it's pretty much siding with the Giants over the Jets. Okay, let's move on. We've got a few minutes to go. I want to hear your prediction for this weekend.
Man, why you got to do that to me?
No, you don't have to give me a score. I mean, what do you see happening?
So I'll say this. Every time I think the Giants are going to beat the Redskins, what's the defensive end for the Redskins?
Ryan Kerrigan.
Okay. So for the last 6 years, every time
that should be written on your forehead.
Seriously, this kid has got to be one of the most underrated kids in the NFL because he beats the Giants single-handedly every year.
He beats a lot of teams. He doesn't just beat the Giants.
But it seems to, well, and you're right. You're right. But I just always feel like when the game's on the line, he has a strip sack, or he bats a ball down, or he makes a huge tackle. Like, and every time I feel like right now they don't have Jordan Reed. They've got a quarterback that has ups and downs.
But they do have Vernon Davis.
Who's 50.
But he still could beat the Giants defense.
Probably. Well, listen, every tight end in
I
the
will
NFL.
play him in fantasy this week.
Really?
Because I know they can't cover him. They couldn't cover O.J. Howard, but O.J. Howard can't catch, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's tough.
It's true.
Every tight end in the league beats the Giants. They still haven't figured out how to cover a tight end. But I think the Giants at home, the over-under is pretty high, right?
49, yeah. That means they're expecting a little bit of a shootout.
Yeah, they're expecting to throw the ball, and you would expect the Giants to throw the ball because they don't have Barkley. So I can only see Gallman getting, 12 to 15 max carries. He's lucky he gets close to 15. It might be closer to 10. So that means you're going to throw the ball, and they're going to expect Shepard and Ingram to win the game. But I don't know. So I think the Giants can win. If they do win, it's by a field goal. If they lose, it's probably like the same thing. These aren't juggernauts. So, I can see a 2024 win. I can see a 2024 loss.
Yeah. This is what I wrote. Can I read it to you?
Please do.
The Giants are going to score with or without Saquon Barkley. Now, people are going to see why taking a running back at number 2 is an ill-advised move. Okay? Giants offense will miss his explosiveness, but will continue to function fine without him. We've already seen that happen. Look around the league. Kansas City, New England, Seattle, San Francisco, Green Bay, Philadelphia. What do they all have in common? Running back by committee. All right? Why did Dallas give Zeke all that money? Clearly, he doesn't move the needle for them. Not now. He did at one time when he first got here, but not now. And now they gave him all that money. Who cares what they do anyway? But, that was the thing that people were getting on me. Oh, what are they going to do when Barkley's contract is up? I said Barkley's contract is going to be up in 4 years because he's going to get the 5th-year option. And by that time, who knows? And now you see he's hurt already. Okay, he's vulnerable. So now you got to think about that. Okay, look at Todd Gurley. He didn't last the 4 years. He's pretty much done. He's not the same player anymore.
No, he's not.
So this is what a lot of people were telling me, and I wasn't buying into it. Well, Barkley may be a great player right now, but it's not. Number 2 is not a place to take that running back. You could wait on that. And now I see why. Now it finally sunk into my thick skull. They're just not positional value there. And now they're going to have to play without him, and I don't think they're going to miss him that much.
Yeah, see, I do. I think actually they miss him from a decoy standpoint, catching the ball.
And when the guy's a decoy, that doesn't do much for me.
Well, I'm just saying they ought to account for him, and he's great out of the backfield. You're going to see this week. You're going to see what the drop off is. You need a first down, can't get one, punt.
Yeah, they'll do it differently though.
Yeah, he's 20 years old. He's a 21-year-old rookie QB. With Shepard and Ingram, and we saw 2 weeks ago. If you take Shepard away, the team's completely one-dimensional, and Barkley. So if you're the Redskins, you double team Ingram, and the game's over because Shepard can't beat you by himself.
No, they're not gonna. They're gonna have Latimer out on the wing,
which doesn't.
Shepard out on the wing. Yeah, but he's big. You want to cover 1-on-1? He's going to yank the ball out of any defensive back's hands.
You hope so, but his career says that he's only good for 10 to 12 catches a year. So
yeah, no, but I've seen him since he's become a Giant. When he's out on the field, he's a dominating figure.
Yeah,
if you use him right.
Well, that I can't say if they do or they don't, but he looks to me like he's a preliminary guy. He catches 1 or 2 balls a game. I don't know. I mean, regardless of Barkley going to 2 or not,
he hasn't played with Jones yet, so you haven't been able to see what he could do. But I think with Slayton, Shepard, Latimer this week, Tate next week, okay, you're going to see the Giants move the football pretty well.
See, I think you're going to have a lot of 2 and 8s. You're going to have a lot of 2 and 8s, and you're going to have a lot of 3 and 6s. That's what I see. Because the offense is still a little bit on the boring side. Your quarterback's not going to be scrambling every play. Because, listen, you get your rookie quarterback hurt, you're right back to where you started. So, we're
worse than when we started. What are you talking about?
Exactly. You just need Barkley. You need Barkley to catch the ball out of the backfield. You need him to, run between the tackles.
Downplaying his importance. I'm just telling you that.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it because I want to see what happens.
Well, you have no choice.
Yeah, you have no choice. So you want to see what happens, and if the running back by committee, works. And I think that if it may work if everything else is working.
Yeah, but you got a practice squad player and a second string running back. I don't see it. I think that right now you are hoping that Slayton and Shepard can get it done, and Tate when he's back next week. You hope that they can get it done, because if you're the Redskins, if you're at any level of an NFL coach, you take Ingram out of that game, you double him the entire game, and make Shepard beat you.
Right. Okay.
So I'm only going the I think it'll be a tight scored game, but I think there'll be some desperation plays like going downfield, because you don't have that person that can rip off 6 yards when you need it. First down, they're going to throw, they're going to throw 3 or 4 downs. So where normally it's run 2, throw 1, and then the next series it's 1, throw 2. Like
right.
You're stuck throwing the ball 3 or 4 downs.
Right.
Because Goldman is not good. Like if Goldman gets you 55 yards rushing and 25 yards receiving, call it a day. That's the best you're going to get out of him.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, he's not going to be out there full time. I think Penny is going to get some run. I think Hilliman's going to get some run. I mean, they're going to mix it up.
If they run the ball to Penny,
I know. I hate when they do that.
I hope there's a sniper in the rafters and he takes out Shermer on the spot. That is a complete and utter waste of a play.
Do you think they've actually called his number, or Eli just checked down to him?
No, I think they called his number because they think they're smarter than they are.
That's true.
Unless you got Tom Rathman or Moose Johnson or any of these guys, you do not hand the ball to your fullback unless it's 4th and inches.
Yeah.
That's true. Mike Allstott, give those guys the ball. Penny, there ain't nothing dynamic about that guy at all.
No, you're right. But these are the Giants. But I think things will change. You'll see. I think it'll work out. So I have my fingers crossed that it'll work out. And I think Jones is a game changer for the Giants. Changes everything. Hey, I think it gives teams something to think about when they come in here.
Quarterback ran for 2 touchdowns. When have you ever seen that?
Yeah. In his first game, not too often. Doesn't happen. But, now that's a threat. So now they're going to have to keep some people spying him, which is, I don't know why Tampa Bay wasn't doing it at the end of the game.
It's Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I mean, Todd Bowles, you're supposed to have somebody spying a quarterback who has already run for 1 touchdown and several first downs, and he's on the 7-yard line. You don't think he could make it to the end zone? Really? And right up the middle. You had a couple of crossing patterns and an out, and then all the defenders followed the receivers, and he just walked into the end zone.
Yeah, it was a great play, and it was really nice as a Giants fan to see a spark at the QB position.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll see that again. I don't think teams will make that mistake. I don't think Washington will make that mistake. They're going to have somebody on it. You have to. I mean, when you play Baltimore and you don't have a spy for Lamar Jackson, I mean, shame on you, right?
100%.
Or Kyler Murray or somebody like that.
Well, we're going to see. It'll be a different, like I said, different game, different lineup. Let's see if they actually, if Shula actually watched any game film and put a game plan in, or he's just, throwing Yahtzee dice. We'll see.
We shall see. One good thing about the Giants is special teams. And I think they're just doing a great job on special teams. Covering punts. They got to be tops in the league. I couldn't find the data because I forgot where they store it on the website. But I think they were only giving up 2.1 yards per punt return.
Really?
If that's the right number. That's tremendous. That's got to lead the league.
It sounds like that could be true, yeah.
And they have that Antonio Hamilton. That's what he's good at, right? As a gunner. Michael Thomas. They have a lot of good guys on special teams, on the coverage teams. The kickoffs, people keep tweeting me, why do the Giants run back kickoffs? They don't get to the 25. Corey Ballantyne just takes the ball out. Don't take the ball out of the end zone if it's in the end zone.
Yeah, we haven't had a kick returner in 10 years.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. If the ball lands in the end zone, rule of thumb, just kneel down. Let it go. So, if it's short of the end zone, you have to run it back. But, if it's in the end zone, don't run it back. You get it at the 25. You're going to make 25 yards? You haven't done it yet. Definition of insanity. I don't know why he does it, but we'll see.
Well, the game is winnable. That's all that matters. And you know what? Let's be positive. Let's give me a 20-17 win. I'm happy.
Wow, that's a low score.
Well, I anything within 3 points. You can give me 27-24. I see this as a 3-point game. What's the spread again?
3.
Yeah, I that seems pretty accurate.
Some people had it at 2.5, but I think the consensus is 3.
I want to see Shermer put out some surprise plays.
You want to see him coach?
Yeah, I want to see him coach, and I want to see Betcher just let some guys play defense.
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing in the second half last week.
Yeah, I saw Dexter Lawrence going a little bit, and I'm like, all right, well, there's a glimpse of maybe what's to come.
I hope so. Because if they can play a little bit of defense, I think this is a 30-point offense. And all you need to do is make that one stop, and you win. They couldn't do it last week. They're lucky the guy missed the field goal. Really, they couldn't stop. The 44-yard pass, Evans, I said, that's it. That's the game. And
Of course, that's the game. That's why, you sit there scratching your head going, why didn't Betcher give him some help over the top?
Yeah.
All they needed to do was when Thomas came down the field, all you needed was a strong safety to go up and lay Thomas out, and he never catches that ball. It's the last play of the game, and the game's over.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like the defensive scheme. I don't even know what it is, but I don't like it. I don't like the passiveness. I like to have an aggressive defense, an attacking defense. If you get beat long, you get beat long once. If you have a passive defense, you get beat long every time.
I'm hoping Zimenez and Connolly bring a little bit of that style. So, because right now, we have a read and react type of defense.
And we're not reading or reacting.
Correct.
Fast enough, anyway. All right. Okay, well, that's all I got for today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. We are the Giants guys. You can find me at nygiantsrush.com. Plenty of good stuff up there. There's always new content. I'm adding on a new writer actually this week. So had a guy saying, man, I got a lot to say. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what you got to say. So we're adding a new writer on. So
we'll have more content. Got a lot to say.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see, right?
Yeah.
And then of course at NYGiantsRush on Twitter, and I'm sure they can find you somewhere too.
Yeah, you can see me in print on the Giant Insider magazine. one of the best magazines, the only print magazine dedicated to Giants football. I'm also at GiantsWire on USA Today, and you can get me on Twitter at John_Fennelly. And that's all I got, guys. So thanks for listening again, and till next time, this is the Giants, guys.